And now the anime welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Iruma Suzuki, a 14-year-old Japanese boy incapable of refusing polite requests, works hard to support his scumbag parents. He is suddenly kidnapped to the netherworld by the demon Sullivan after Iruma's parents sold his soul. Sullivan wishes to adopt Iruma as his beloved grandson, since his friends always boast about their grandsons and he is jealous. Iruma reluctantly agrees and is enrolled in the demon school, Babel's, where he must keep his human identity secret or risk being eaten by his classmates. Iruma attends the opening ceremony and learns Sullivan is the school's director. First-year representative Asmodeus Alice tries to give his speech, but Sullivan makes Iruma do it instead. Iruma reads a speech provided by Sullivan, terrifying and impressing the students as the speech was actually a dangerous spell to prevent Iruma falling or embarrassing himself. Asmodeus challenges Iruma to a duel for insulting him, but Iruma, having been raised by his scumbag parents who constantly put him in dangerous situations, has developed an almost superhuman ability to dodge attacks. The other students assume Iruma refuses to fight back because he considers Asmodeus weak. When a girl in the audience is almost hurt, Iruma saves her, but the effects of Sullivan's spell prevents him falling forwards and he accidentally knocks Asmodeus unconscious by throwing him backwards in a German suplex. The story spreads throughout the school, making Iruma famous. Iruma is shocked when Asmodeus happily declares himself Iruma's servant. Sullivan is delighted Iruma seems to have a bright future in the netherworld. During breakfast with Sullivan, Iruma demonstrates his ability to consume truly shocking amounts of food. He tries to refuse to attend demon school but decides to go when Sullivan reveals he has bought even more thoughtful gifts for him. Asmodeus informs Iruma they must summon their magical familiars and the strength of the familiar will determine their demonic rank and which class they are placed in. Their advisor, Nibirius Caligo, immediately dislikes Iruma for being Sullivan's grandson. To summon a familiar, the students perform a ceremony using their blood on summoning parchments marked with Nibirius' demonic seal to prevent cheating. Asmodeus summons a fire-breathing gorgon snake. Iruma tries a summoning, but as he has no demonic power in his blood, the familiar summoning accidentally becomes a demon summoning using the power of Nibirius' demonic seal, causing Nibirius to be summoned as Iruma's familiar in the embarrassing form of a small, cute, fluffy owl with bat wings and horns. Despite it being an accident, the other students assume Iruma must be even more powerful than Nibirius to be able to bind him as a familiar, thus increasing Iruma's fame even more. Sullivan happily informs them familiar summoning contracts are unbreakable and last an entire year. Nibirius becomes bedridden from shock and Iruma's rank is left undetermined. Iruma meets a hyperactive student named Valak Clara whom Asmodeus warns Iruma not to speak to. Asmodeus explains Clara is a weirdo who people try to avoid. Clara becomes attached to Iruma who is compelled to play with her after she says please. Clara reveals she possesses magical pockets which can copy any object she sees. Iruma learns other students have been manipulating Clara into creating free food for them. Clara sadly reveals she has gotten used to having to bribe people to be her friends. When she tries to bribe Iruma he refuses, upsetting her, until Iruma explains he wants to be her friend without bribes. This makes Clara so happy that when the other students try manipulating her again, she throws a drinks machine at them before using Asmodeus as a target for paint dodgeball. Iruma is unsure if Asmodeus and Clara are his friends since he never had friends before. Iruma learns a student's rank controls what food they can order. Clara gets in trouble with the snack stall owner who considers her replicating pockets a form of shoplifting. Nibirius arrives to settle the matter only for Clara to trick Iruma into summoning Nibirius, turning him back into an owl. Iruma, Clara, and Asmodeus flee while the stall owner traps Nibirius and demands payment for the shoplifted items. Iruma asks Asmodeus and Clara if they are his friends but is surprised to learn demons have no concept of friends, but they agree to be friends anyway. Sullivan holds a faculty meeting where it is decided Iruma, Clara, and Asmodeus will all be placed in the misfit class for problem children. Sullivan reveals to Iruma he put him in a class of troublemakers to help him not stand out, along with Asmodeus and Clara, so he wouldn't be alone. Iruma immediately runs afoul of booby traps set by his new classmates who wagered on whether he would survive. Iruma meets Sabnok Sabro, a tall muscular delinquent who plans on becoming the next demon king. Iruma learns there are 10 demonic ranks, with Yod, or 10th rank, being strongest, and the demon king is always chosen from among the Yod. Sabnok admits he was placed in the misfit class for trying to fight a teacher. Nibirius arrives and sets them a task to determine their ranks, a race through a dangerous valley, though Nibirius warns them to avoid the guardian beast that is in a particularly foul mood. Most students opt to fly, except for Iruma who has no demon wings and simply falls off the cliff when pushed by an impatient Nibirius. Sabnok flies straight for the guardian, hoping to defeat it and get a high rank. Iruma is carried off by demonic crows that accidentally drop him in the guardian guardian's nest with its baby, who is injured. Iruma tries to help the baby and discovers his human blood can heal demons' injuries instantly. The grateful baby decides to fly Iruma to the flag as a thank you. Elsewhere, Sabnok admits he made a mistake trying to defeat the guardian as it easily overpowers him. Sabnok reveals he wants to become Demon King to prove himself better than his pacifist older brother. Iruma suddenly lands in front of him, pacifying the guardian by showing its child is healed. Sabnok assumes Iruma is somehow powerful enough not to be afraid of the guardian. At the finish line, Asmodeus places first and Clara, riding on Asmodeus' shoulders, comes second. Iruma and Sabnok end up in last, despite riding on the guardian's back. Naberius explains a rank owl will provide everyone with rank badges. Sabnok declares Iruma his rival. Asmodeus earns Dalit, 4th rank, Clara earns Gimel, 3rd rank, and Sabnok earns Bet, 2nd rank. Iruma, instead of a badge, receives a golden ring. A startled Sabnok recalls a prophecy that the next Demon King will make other demons his servants, heal injuries with his blood, have been born a foreigner, and wear Solomon's ring. Iruma freaks out when a black flame demon appears from the ring and starts draining power from his classmates. Naberius senses the ring threatening him and moves to sever Iruma's entire arm but is stopped by Sullivan, who scolds him. Sullivan explains the ring is actually the gluttonous feeder ring that eats magic power, then pacifies it by feeding it some of his power. Iruma's rank is undetermined and by default receives the lowest rank, Aleph. Meanwhile, his taming of the Guardian and his ring attacking his classmates increases his fame yet again. Iruma's fame draws the attention of the student council. In botany class, the students learn to use magic to grow demonic plants. Sabnok produces a feral flower that eats everything it sees, Asmodeus an elegant flower with flaming petals, and Clara a mutated flower beyond rational description. Having no magic, Iruma says the spell as a joke while thinking of his home in Japan. Sullivan's magic suddenly bursts from his ring, just as Sullivan calls Iruma to explain that the ring lets Iruma use magic, but Sullivan had forgotten to set a limit on its output. Iruma's overpowered seed explodes into a giant cherry blossom tree, destroying the greenhouse. Student Council President, Azazel Ameri, recognizes the tree as a human plant and suspects Iruma is human. Ameri privately reveals most demons believe humans do not exist, but her family secretly owns a library of sacred relics, i.e. Japanese manga, and is obsessed with the First Love Memories series, but as she cannot read Japanese has mistakenly concluded it is a manual of human love spells. Iruma tries to clean up the falling cherry blossoms, despite Clara making more mess. As he leaves, Iruma turns a corner and accidentally knocks Ameri over. Recognizing the similarity to a romantic scene from First Love Memories, Ameri believes Iruma is trying to make her fall in love with him using human magic and concludes he must be human. Iruma and Ameri end up frozen, unsure how to react. Iruma assumes Ameri is angry while Ameri assumes she is in a magical love duel. Ameri drops First Love Memories, which Iruma recognizes as a manga he helped illustrate to earn money. Ameri realizes he can read Japanese and, rather than reveal he is human, drags him to her office and asks him to read the story out loud for her. After Iruma finishes, an embarrassed Ameri puts her number in his phone so she can ask him to read for her again. Iruma can't decide if he prefers his old life or his new life. Sullivan's servant, Opera, informs him it may be possible to visit the human world if he becomes a high-ranking demon. Iruma is summoned by Ameri, making Asmodeus and Clara suspicious. Ameri decides, based on First Love Memories, that spending time with Iruma counts as a date. Asmodeus and Clara buy detection warding glasses to hide while following Iruma. Asmodeus assumes Iruma is hatching a plan to take over the student council while Clara assumes they are excluding her from a new game. After learning about ambition from First Love Memories and listening to Ameri's plans for the future, Iruma realizes his pushover personality had prevented him from having any ambition of his own. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel because it is very important for the development of the channel.